Hey, this is Joe from Home Studio Corner. In this video, I'm going to show you my favorite production trick. I'm going to show you exactly how I use it, and then I'm going to give it to you for free as a free download at the end of the video, so stick around. So here's a song that I'm working on. Gave myself a challenge to try to create something using almost all MIDI. Since I'm typically an audio guy, I wanted to kind of change things up. So what I did, I actually recorded my voice singing bum, something like that. Then I dragged it into sample 1 in Studio One, which mapped it across all the keys. So this is what I sang, bum, but now I can play my own voice, bum, right? So that was kind of the starting point. So I created this pretty fun part with a drum beat that plays for the first half of this little short song. And then the second half, as you can see, adds in a bunch of orchestral stuff and gets pretty huge. And I want this part right here, this downbeat, to be just magnificent, big, huge. It's almost there, but there's a piece that's missing. So let me play the song leading up to that so you can have an idea of where it needs to go. All right, here we go. Okay, so there you have it. Really different for me. That was really fun to do. So the second half, just in case you're curious, I played more kind of complicated chords on the bum part. That's still just me. I just played it down lower. But then I triggered a compressor off of the drum beat, so that synth part does this that you hear a lot in pop music. And then the rest is just a bunch of orchestral stuff. Oops. Okay, so back to the music. Here's what I want. It already goes from a single track to a bunch of tracks. It's already getting bigger, but there's one thing we can do to make it even bigger. And you've probably already guessed, especially if you followed me for a while, but here it is. Cymbal swells. I know it sounds simple, but let me tell you a story. Years ago, I think it was around 2004, 2005, I was able to bring a song to a session with a major percussionist. And he had the entire studio, like big studio filled with percussion stuff, and he would play on one of our tracks. So I got him to play, and he did a bunch of these really cool cymbal swells in stereo, big, mallets, big cymbals. And I found out afterward, man, I could use these in other places, just fly them around. So I've been using these same cymbal swell samples for, I don't know how many years it's been, well over 15 years, and I love them and they sound good, and I find myself using them all the time. So at the end of this video, I'll show you how to get these same samples, but here they are. I've kind of divided them up into just 5 little samples, 3 cymbal swells, 1 swell, and a tinkle, which here's what the tinkle sounds like. I know it has a real name, but I call it the tinkle sound. So here's what happens. I'm going to grab one of these swells, And I'm going to drop it here into Studio One. And what I want it to do is I want the climax of this swell to happen right at the downbeat of this transition. So kind of right there. I'll turn the volume down a little bit. And this single move, single little production trick has huge impacts on just how big your songs sound, especially transitioning from one section to the next. Take a listen. I mean, it gives me goosebumps most of the time. And I've edited them. I used to have them as just one big file, but now I've got them as individual samples. So as you can see, they're fairly similar, the swells, but they're a little bit different if you want to change things up, a little shorter, a little longer, but they all sound beautiful in stereo. And here's one where he got fancy and went into the tinkle thing afterwards. Just beautiful, and I want you to have them. So here's how that works. Hopefully I've shown you how to use it. You can do your own cymbal swells, right? Set up drums, record them. That's great. I don't usually have a drummer sitting here just ready for me to say, hey, play a 4-bar cymbal swell here. I'd rather just have them on a hard drive that I can pull into sessions as I need them. There are plenty of samples out there, but these are free, and I'd love for you to have them and just drag them into your sessions. Find a session you're working on, drag one in, see if it makes a huge difference. If you've never messed with these before, it is really fun. Try not to overdo it, but it is really fun. To get these for yourself, head over to homestudiocorner.com/swells. Looks a little something like this. Enter your email address, and I will send you a zip file with those, 5 WAV files in it. Feel free to use them as much as you want. You don't have to give me any sort of credit. I just want you to have them and have fun. And by the way, when you sign up to this email list, it gets you on the email list to find out about my new course, which is launching on June 1st. So be ready. I'm going to open the doors, and then they're going to close down for a bit while we all learn and study the art of recording and production. I have spent the last 6 months on this. I have been keeping it a secret up until now, and I'm really excited about it. The basic gist of the course is I teach you everything I've learned over the years about recording and production, from things like mic placement, to how to set up your room, to what goes into production. You got good at recording guitars, but how do you know what guitar parts to record? How do you know when you're finished? How do you know what the song needs? We dive into all of that. And the best part is I take the same song and produce it 3 different ways. So there's a guitar vocal version of the song, there's a kind of medium production that's a little bit like what we just heard here, and then there's a full band rock and roll Foo Fighters version. So regardless of what type of music you're doing, what experience level you have, there's something there for you, and I can't wait to share it with you. So to be the first to hear about it, go over to this website, homestudiocorner.com/swells, and sign up to the email list, and I will let you know when the course is open. Thanks again. See you in the next one. By the way, you can chop off the swell midway to give a cool reverse cymbal sort of sound. Here it is. So good.